my friends. Now that was a good day, right? That's just a good day. So, want to jump in here real quick, kind of give an update on everything that I saw today. Also, too, possibly what to see as far as upside and downside targets in the future. If you haven't done so already, once again, please follow me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to keep up with everything that I'm seeing. Also, too, it's the easiest way to ask me questions. On days like today, there's so many comments, though, coming through that it's impossible for me to keep up. So maybe on a slower day or anything like that, once again, I always try to engage with everybody as much as I can. Always try to answer as many questions as I can. But overall, AMC today, man, 45% day, just absolutely hallelujah. We've been through a lot. Today was a good day once again. Before we jump into the chart, nothing I say is financial advice. Everything I say is about educational purposes only. You need to trade your plan. At the end of the day, you are the one who is going to be stuck with your portfolio, and that's actually going to be an important thing about what we talk about today. So first things first, let's kind of look at everything AMC wise on a technical analysis standpoint. I said, long as I can remember, as long as I've been making videos back up here in December, that coming down here and breaking out of our long-term bear trend line that has basically been a pain in our you-know-what since our all-time highs. Once we broke through that trend line, we wanted to do so with massive, massive volumes. And our two most important days for breaking up and pushing that is we saw the continuation of volume, and then just absolutely 226 million. This was our highest day since back here August the 24th, when we only had a 20% day back here in August the 24th. So it has been, let's see here, what would that be? That would be 7 months, our biggest day in volume in over 7 months. So that is just, freaking awesome. Hopefully I don't have to hear from too many people for too long saying, we'll never have volume again because they just root everything through the dark pools. But I'm sure I will. However, I always said volume would return at the proper moments. And this is what we're looking for. All right. So great volume today. Now, from a downside standpoint, the RSI on the daily is getting hot. Okay. Now, we talked about last night's video that AMC both times has hit all the way up to 95 on the RSI when we're squeezing. Okay. And the only times really you can, I'll scroll back here and look, with you guys, pretty much for the most part, the only time the RSI does get this overcooked is when we're squeezing. The only time the RSI has ever been higher on AMC is the two times that we squeezed. So we definitely could keep pushing up on the daily RSI. Now, it's going to come to a point where it's just, it's too overcooked and it has to pull back. But I still think that there is room to run on the RSI. Now, a cool off and some consolidation days, that wouldn't surprise me. However, just to say, yes, it's overcooked, honestly, if you're not in AMC yet, this could be, I don't know that I would recommend, I would never recommend jumping in on a play, when the RSI, is this overbought. But at the same time, it's your portfolio, you do you. And if the FOMO keeps running, and the volume keeps up, we definitely could keep pushing. So it definitely could be a good trade. It's just that's the same reason why I haven't entered HYMC yet. It's just, and I hate it because I feel like I missed the boat on that one. And that's the FOMO talking. This is where the discipline's got to come in. That I'm going to get in it, but I am going to wait for a good entry. A nice little solid pullback. So honestly, from a technical analysis standpoint, the only thing that doesn't look good as far as a continued push up is going to be the RSI. But I think we can overcome it, especially if we really keep squeezing them with the way the options are coming and everything like that. It is definitely a possibility for us to just keep on keeping on, so to speak. From a downside perspective, so I'm going to jump in here to a little bit lower time frame. So we can kind of look at some fibs here. So if we go from today, so you guys know me, the one thing we don't like about today is we did leave a gap, okay? But there's other gaps, and I'll be happy to show you. So if we go up here and we do a fib from our low, to our high today, the 236 would be coming down to 26.99. The 382, which is the most common retracement, would bring us back to $25.44, which, as you can see too, was a little bit of resistance for us to break through today. So coming back down and retesting that, I definitely think is a possibility. That would be my most likely retracement right now. But once again, if the volume keeps coming, we can definitely keep, right on rocketing up. I would be way more cautious about today if the volume wasn't what it was. Somebody kept my receipt and tweeted it at me, where I was in a conversation, if you will, with somebody else, and I was like, no, because they were like, what do you think about this low volume move? And I'm like, bro, what's you talking about? Or no, I'm sorry. I said it was a couple days ago when we had like the 60 million volume day, and I was like, if we keep rising on lower volume, and that person was like, what are you talking about, man? Like, we've been at 30 million volume. This volume's great. And I'm like, no. AMC's biggest moves all come with 200 to 250 million shares traded, so 250 million volume. And somebody tweeted that at me today, like this, and I was like, yeah, exactly like this. So this is the exact type of move with the exact type of volume that we've been looking for. Now, I think overall, the idea that continuation is going to keep moving with how many, options constantly keep going in the money. I think overall, obviously, I'm definitely bullish right now. If you're not bullish right now, like, what are you doing? Okay. Now, I'm going to jump back to the daily real quick. So I don't love the gap right there, to be honest, but there's gaps that have just never been filled on AMC, and not every gap has to be filled on AMC. So for instance, back here before the June run up, we closed at $10.02. And then the very next day, it never got below $10.64. Okay. So there's a gap right back here. And that was also part of my, $10 price point aspect of it, is that there was still a gap at $10. And so not every gap has to be filled, and not every gap has to be filled, especially ones that you take off with, with good solid volume. But if you look at today, this type of move, then tomorrow, it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe a candle even that looked a little bit like this, where we do keep pushing up, but at some point in time, we do come back a little bit. For instance, this candle opened at 13.31, got as high as 14.34, went down as low as 12.57, closed at 12.98. Okay, so that, those type of candles for some RSI cooling off, definitely wouldn't surprise me. In fact, let me just kind of look at this right here, kind of see what the RSI. So when the RSI, let's see here. Okay, it still wasn't overcooked right there. It didn't get overcooked till right around in here, but you can see right here, once the RSI started to get a little overcooked, then there was a few days of consolidation before the last big push up. Okay. So overall, definitely bullish. What we're looking for now is, we want to see a break of, up into the 30s. Okay. And then we still haven't, if you haven't already, please go watch my cycle update video. This range right here, we're still not out of the woods yet, in my opinion. Okay. Once we start getting up in here into this range, I want to see that big old buying pressure and big old buying volume. See, look at that. So right here, I just now noticed this. So from our low on August the 5th, all right, of what was that? About 28.96. That's pretty much, we did get above it, but we're starting to get rejected here at this zone. So, I mean, I'm not super concerned. Okay. We pushed hard today. All right. So I'm not super concerned yet. But that move, like I talked about right here in April, is still a possibility where it pushed up, didn't, get back up in here. We didn't create the new sign of strength. We got pushed down, had to refuel. Then we created the new sign of strength. Then we had the markup. So that is definitely still a possibility. Okay. So I am really going to be watching this range in this area over the next few days. And once again, with the option chain, if it just really keeps lighting on fire, and I mean, we can push through here. But if we push up into this range, if we push up into that mid to higher 30s. Once again, we just want to see the volume coming along with it and the FOMO and all that kind of stuff. I was getting text messages from today from people that I haven't heard from in months. Like, yo, what's AMC doing? Is it still a good time to get in? Stuff like that. So the FOMO is definitely going to be showing up, here relatively quickly. All right. So overall, trying to keep everything short. My brain's fried, your brain's fried, I'm sure. So that's going to be what I'm looking for. Now we're at the gates where if we don't get a nice solid push here, it was a lot of support for a long time. So we need to break up into this, otherwise we are definitely going to retrace. And even if that retracement is something, we just get kicked down a little bit and then we kind of push back up. And like I've been tweeting out a bunch, just keep knocking, girl, somebody gonna answer. And then we push up in and through. That's also very possible as well. So I'm not, even if we get kicked off of it tomorrow, even if we have a consolidation day tomorrow or anything along those lines, I am not, concerned. As I've always said, I will let you know when I am concerned about, any of the movements. Last thing that I want to talk about, guys, is a little bit of right now, myself included, everybody was in a very euphoric state today. So now's the time that you got to check yourself about being overly greedy on anything, whether, especially those option plays. I tweeted out today, I'll just go to it. I mean, I took my very first option play, courtesy of Rico's trade. Shout out to my brother Rico. My man's awesome. I did my first option trade today on AMC, and honestly ever. I always said I was learning more about options. I'm now at the point where I'm comfortable with a very small portion of my portfolio starting to play with some options a little bit, because I do think they're very they're much not very they're much riskier. They're insanely risky if you have no idea what you're doing. So you better know what you're doing. But it's a great way to essentially leverage 100 shares of a particular stock without actually having to own those 100 shares, okay? But this video is not about getting into that. We'll talk about that later. So, but on options, when you're fighting theta and everything like that, you gotta be smart. Please, please, please don't let your amazing gains. I mean, I tweeted out, I love seeing all the awesome receipts of the trades that myself and a bunch of other people in the community, really help people with, put a ton of money in people's pockets today. And that is just freaking awesome. I had text message conversation with my wife where, and believe it if you want, but helping others and helping other people make so much money today, honestly, makes me feel better than my own amount of money that I made today. I've always said this channel is about helping people, and it will stay that way. But be smart. Do not just automatically assume this thing is going to the moon. If you were over leveraged in your shares or anything along those lines, I'm not asking you to sell your shares or anything like that. So don't come at me with that BS. But if you found yourself in a bad, uncomfortable financial situation or anything like that, now that you're getting some really nice relief, I just implore everybody, myself included, not to get overly greedy. So I will not let my options trade go red. I don't let my green trades go red. I have no plan on selling my shares as of now. I have my numbers. I don't even want to say it. I have my brackets, if you will. But I have my numbers of where I would start scaling out, things of that nature. But we're not we're not there yet. Okay, so don't worry about that. So, but especially if you played any type of weekly options or any options, period. Please be very wise about how you play them. Please be wise about taking profits. Don't let anybody tell you, you're awful or a shill or anything like that for taking profits. I personally not letting that trade go red. Okay, so and it is a weekly option, so I will be closely watching it, and obviously I'm going to scale out and things of that nature, but um, just when we're all super excited, now's the time too where you gotta look in the mirror and always decide what is best for me, what is best for my family, what is best for my portfolio, and don't get too caught up in the hype or the culty material that comes out through the ape community sometimes. So that's why I always say at the end of the day, you're the one left with your portfolio. If somebody tells you on the internet this thing's going to 350 a share this week and it doesn't, and if anything we get rug pulled to 20 tomorrow or anything along those lines, you're the one stuck with it, not the dude who's saying that on the internet. Okay, so you're the one that's stuck with it. So be wise, be smart, be excited, but also be cautious at the same time. Okay, that's all I'm asking. I want everybody to win. Okay, um, so just be smart, my friends. That's at the end of the day. That's all I'm asking. I'm totally fine if you're an ape. I'm not okay if you're a stupid ape. That is not what this channel is about. I'm here about education. So, I'm okay to be excited. I'm okay with buying and holding. That's what I've been doing. But I'm not okay with just lack of education. Take the time, get educated, take your profits, and let's win. We are the whales now, not them. We are. Y'all have a great evening. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Y'all be good.